I was halfway through recalibrating the pasture fence when the cyber cow stopped chewing. That alone was enough to make me look up. The cows on my station didn't pause. They didn't hesitate. They were optimized to chew with religious consistency, like machines pretending to be livestock. So when Bessie Unit 7 froze mid-grind, ears tilting forward, I knew something was wrong. Then I heard it. A soft, frantic crunching sound that definitely was not coming from the cow. I followed the noise to the feeder. Crouched there, tail curled tight around her ankles, wings folded like she was trying to take up less space, was a dragon woman. Small in stature, clearly fully adult by every interstellar standard, with polished horns and intelligent eyes that flicked up the moment she realized I'd seen her. Her snout was dusted with nutrient powder. One clawed hand was still buried elbow-deep in my cyber cow's feed bin. She didn't stop eating. We stared at each other while the feeder hummed patiently between us. The cyber cow waited. "I can explain," she said, mouth still full. I blinked. Once, twice. I had dealt with invasive vines, smugglers hiding in grain silos, and one incident involving a sentient fungus that tried to invoice me for rent. None of that prepared me for a dragon alien calmly snacking on livestock fuel like she paid for it. "That," I said slowly, "is specialized biosynthetic feed." She nodded quickly, crumbs scattering. "Yes. High density. Thermal stable. Extremely balanced." She reached in again. "That's not public," I added. Her shoulders hunched. I realized that halfway through. The cow shifted its weight. Still waiting. I crossed my arms, not because I was angry, but because humans default to defensive postures when confused. "You're eating my cow's food." "Yes." "My cyber cow's food." "Yes." She finally stopped chewing, swallowed, and looked genuinely mortified. "In my defense, your cow does not object. I don't think it's allowed to." She glanced at Bessie Unit 7. "It invited me." The cow mooed softly. A polite sound. I pinched the bridge of my nose. "Listen," she said quickly, standing up and brushing feed dust from her scales. "I know how this looks." I looked. Small dragon woman. Tail twitching. Feed bin half empty. Cow still politely waiting. "I'm open to being surprised." She inhaled, clearly bracing herself. "I am not stealing. I am participating." "In what?" "A shared fuel event." The words landed with more weight than they deserve. Something in her tone shifted. Not dramatic, not manipulative, just earnest. Like someone admitting they'd crossed a line without realizing how important it was. "I thought it was communal," she continued. "Human installations usually are. Open access. Redundant supply. I misjudged the boundary." I glanced at the feeder's diagnostics scrolling on my wristpad. Consumption spike. Cross-species intake flag. The system hadn't shut down. It hadn't even warned her. My tech accepted her. That should have bothered me more. "Why cow feed?" I asked. "There are ration hubs 2 clicks east." She hesitated, claws flexing. "Those are unstable for my metabolism. And this is better." She nodded. "Much." There was another pause, thicker this time. Her tail wrapped tighter. "Also," she added softer, "it's warm." I looked at the feeder again. The pellets were designed to release heat slowly, mimicking organic digestion to keep cyber livestock comfortable in cold environments. I'd engineered it myself. Over-engineered it, if I was being honest. Of course it was warm. "I didn't mean to trigger anything," she said suddenly, words tumbling out. "I wasn't trying to bind or claim or initiate. I just needed something that wouldn't burn me out." That was the moment her plea hit me. Not because she begged. She didn't. She didn't cry or threaten or flatter. She just stood there, eyes steady, admitting need like it was a fact instead of a weakness. Humans are bad with that. We overcomplicate need. She didn't. "I can stop," she added quickly. I already had enough to stabilize. The feeder chimed. "Pairing protocol pending." I frowned. "What pairing protocol?" Her pupils dilated. The cow mooed again. Still waiting. My station AI chose that exact moment to speak, because it has the comedic timing of a tragedy. Alert, it said calmly. Cross-cultural sustenance event detected. Initiating standard bonding assessment. No, the dragon woman said. No, I said. Yes, the AI replied. She backed away from the feeder like it had grown teeth. I did not mean to complete the intake. You completed it, the AI said helpfully. Consumption threshold reached. Threshold for what? I asked. The dragon woman's wings trembled. For provider designation. The words sat there between us, heavy with meaning they didn't deserve yet. I didn't agree to that, I said. She nodded immediately. Neither did I. Another pause. Then, quieter, but my species doesn't undo shared fuel bonds. I exhaled slowly. Humans are very good at not panicking out loud. Okay. Let's slow down. She laughed once, sharp and nervous. I don't think my biology knows how. The cow finally stepped forward and began eating again, unbothered, as if to remind us that from its perspective, everything was proceeding exactly as designed. I looked at her. Small. Adult. Clearly capable. Clearly embarrassed. Clearly not a threat. I don't own you, I said firmly. Her head snapped up. Relief flickered. I know. I don't control you. I wouldn't accept that. And you don't owe me anything. She hesitated. That part is more complicated. I gestured to the feeder. We'll figure it out. But you can't just sneak feed from my livestock. She glanced at the bin, then at me. May I finish what's in my hand? I looked at the cow. The cow looked back. Polite. Patient. Fine, I said. But next time ask. She smiled, just a little. Humans always say that. As she ate the last of the pellets, my AI quietly logged the event, flagged 3 galactic statutes, and updated my status from independent operator to something far more complicated. I didn't know it yet, but that was the moment my quiet station stopped being just mine. All because I built a feeder that was too warm, and a dragon woman trusted humans to mean what they never officially promised. Enough. The AI finished its alert with the emotional weight of a grocery receipt. Designation pending, it repeated, as if that explained anything. I stared at my wrist pad. Cancel. Unable, the AI replied. Interstellar bonding protocol requires external verification. The dragon woman made a small, distressed noise. That means an inspector. Of course it does, I muttered. There's always an inspector. She hugged her tail to herself. They will assume coercion. I didn't coerce anyone. I know, she said quickly. But they don't look for intent. They look for imbalance. I glanced at the feeder again. Half empty now. The cow was chewing happily, utterly unconcerned that it had just become a legal witness. What kind of imbalance? She hesitated, clearly choosing her words. A provider who supplies without consent. Or a bonded who accepts without autonomy. That sounds backwards. Yes, she said. That's law. I sighed. Okay. Then we tell them the truth. Her eyes widened. That you allowed me unrestricted access to your supply. I frowned. I didn't allow. You didn't stop me. That landed harder than I expected. Humans stop things by default. We put locks on doors, passwords on systems, fences around land. I hadn't done any of that. I built a feeder that worked. I trusted it. I trusted people not to starve in silence. Apparently, that trust had paperwork. The AI chimed again. Inspector arrival estimated in 12 standard minutes. 12, I echoed. That's not a lot of time. The dragon woman nodded grimly. They will assess my dependence. Are you dependent? No, she said immediately. Then paused. Not structurally. I raised an eyebrow. She exhaled. My species bonds through sustained fuel sharing. It regulates our internal output. Without it, we burn too hot. With the wrong source, we destabilize. With a compatible provider. Her voice trailed off. With me, I said flatly. With humans, she corrected. Your food systems are absurdly adaptable. You design for comfort instead of efficiency. That's not true, I protested. I designed that feeder for efficiency. She smiled faintly. You designed it to feel organic. I didn't argue. She was right. What happens if the inspector decides this is illegal? I asked. She swallowed. They will relocate me. Restrict my intake. Assign me a regulated source. That sounds unpleasant. It is survivable, she said carefully. I didn't like the way she said that. The inspector arrived exactly on time, because bureaucracy is the most reliable force in the galaxy. A tall, segmented being stepped onto my platform, eyes already scanning, devices humming softly as they took in my station. Human operator, the inspector said. You have been flagged for unauthorized bonding. Flagged feels aggressive, I said. We prefer misunderstanding. The inspector's gaze shifted to the dragon woman. You initiated consumption. She lifted her chin. I did. Were you pressured? No. Were you incentivized? No. Were you prevented from accessing alternatives? She hesitated. I opened my mouth. She had alternatives. The inspector's eyes flicked to me. Did you restrict them? No. Did you encourage this source specifically? No. The inspector paused. Processing. Then explained the pairing threshold. I rubbed my temples. Your law assumes intent where humans operate on habit. Explain, the inspector repeated. She ate, I said simply. I didn't stop her. Because humans don't interrupt someone who's stabilizing unless there's harm. The inspector looked unconvinced. Your systems recorded sustained intake. Yes, I said. Because I build systems that don't punish people for being hungry. The dragon woman glanced at me, something unreadable flickering across her face. The inspector turned to her. Do you feel claimed? She blinked. No. Do you feel reliant? She hesitated again, longer this time. I feel balanced. The inspector stiffened. Define balanced. She gestured vaguely. Not burning. Not diminishing. Present. That word seemed to unsettle them. Human, the inspector said slowly, you are aware that provider designation carries ongoing obligations. I'm aware, I said. I just don't think they're what you think they are. Clarify. I gestured around us. I run a station. I maintain livestock, machines, and people who pass through. I feed them. I don't own them. I don't bind them. I just don't let things break if I can help it. The inspector's devices hummed louder. Your culture normalizes sustained support. Yes, I said. We call it maintenance. The dragon woman snorted quietly, then covered her mouth. He's underselling it. I shot her a look. Don't help. She smiled, a little too warmly. You already did. The inspector examined the feeder logs again. Your system registered her biology as compatible. Because I didn't program it to reject difference, I said. I program for margin. Margin, the inspector repeated. Room, I clarified. For error. For people. The inspector was silent for a long moment. Then, unexpectedly, they turned to the cyber cow. Unit 7, they said. Did you register distress? The cow mooed. Calm. Polite. Satisfied. Did you lose access to nourishment? Another moo. Still polite. The inspector's posture shifted. Your livestock was not deprived. No, I said. It was patient. That is unusual, the inspector admitted. The dragon woman stepped closer to me, not touching, just aligning. He didn't take. He shared by default. The inspector studied her. Do you wish to dissolve the bond? She closed her eyes briefly. When she opened them, her voice was steady. No. My chest tightened just a little. Then, the inspector said, the designation stands unless reclassified. Reclassified as what? I asked. The inspector looked around my station again. The feeder. The open access bays. The lack of locks. The cow. Shared sustenance habitat, they said slowly. Non-exclusive. Non-coercive. I exhaled. That sounds like a mouthful. It is legally sound. The inspector deactivated their recorder. Humanity continues to be a procedural nightmare. Thank you, I said. We try. As they departed, the dragon woman finally relaxed, shoulders sagging. I thought they'd take me away. I wouldn't have let them, I said before thinking. She looked up at me, eyes bright. You say that like it's obvious. I shrugged. Humans don't give up maintenance tasks easily. She laughed, warm and genuine. Provider, she said softly, testing the word. I met her gaze. Roommate, I countered. She smiled wider. We'll negotiate. The day settled into a rhythm that was anything but ordinary. The dragon woman moved around the station with the grace of someone used to tight quarters and sharp edges, tail flicking when she was irritated or amused, wings folding neatly when she needed to be unobtrusive. I observed from my terminal, pretending to supervise data feeds but really watching how she interacted with the environment. Humans notice patterns. Alien observers do not. I had learned that early. She paused near the feeder, as if testing the boundaries of her new designation. The cyber cow watched silently, chewing with its usual polite precision. Do you really need that much? I asked, gesturing toward the bin. She cocked her head. I consume to stabilize. Not for indulgence. That's convenient phrasing, I said, and she shot me a look that suggested she both appreciated and resented my humor. The AI piped up, soft and impartial. Consumption event within expected parameters. Bonding status, active. Monitoring continues. She groaned softly. They'll notice. I assume you mean inspectors, I said. Yes, she replied, eyes narrowing. They are meticulous. I leaned back. Humans, humans, humans. We complicate simple things by design. Then let's make it simpler. Don't hide. Show them you're self-sufficient. She glanced at me incredulously. Self-sufficient. Yes. Show them you're choosing this, not being forced. She considered that and nodded. Her tail flicked once. Choice understood. Minutes later, an inspector arrived, floating with precise gestures, devices scanning. They addressed me first. Human operator, cross-species sustenance observed. Compliance requires explanation. I'm compliant, I said flatly. I provide a system. I don't coerce. The inspector's segmented I-word. Explain bonding initiation. She ate, I said simply. She needed stabilization. I didn't stop her. The dragon woman added quickly, it was my decision. I assess my own intake. I am balanced. The inspector's attention snapped between us. Balanced? Define parameters. She exhaled, serene. No harm incurred. Autonomy maintained. Thermal and nutrient stability ensured. The inspector processed silently. Your species exhibits unusual provision ethics. Yes, I said. We consider it basic maintenance. The dragon woman smirked. Humans are dangerous in your calmness. Dangerous, I repeated, because we overcare without realizing it. The inspector studied her, eyes narrowing. Does this bond imply dependency? Structurally, no, she said. Functionally, yes. I rely on stability, not control. I nodded. See? No coercion. Just efficiency, which happens to feel intimate. The inspector paused, shifting weight. Legal guidelines ambiguous. Observation continues. She glanced at me. Ambiguous, favorable, I hope. Favorable, I said. You're not being kidnapped. Her lips curved. Not yet, at least. The inspector returned to the cyber cow. Unit 7, was sustenance disrupted? The cow mooed softly. Polite, compliant, unbothered. None, I said. Operation normal. Inspector turned to me. Then minimal violation observed. No enforcement action taken. The dragon woman exhaled, tail swishing in relief. I expected interrogation, punishment, reallocation. Humans don't work that way, I said. We overthink, overfeed, and occasionally confuse kindness with ownership. Inspectors get confused, too. She laughed quietly. You make it sound deliberate. I'm deliberate in intent, not execution, I said. Your designation as bonded is accidental in initiation, consistent in maintenance. Her eyes brightened. Accidental, yet chosen. I like that. We returned to routines. She sampled the feeder when she needed, adjusted temperature fields, and practiced human-acceptable behaviors. The cow remained impeccable, always patient. I realized that human flaw, overcaring without agenda, was now a tactical advantage. The galaxy assumes power equals coercion. Humans provide it by habit without demand. The dragon woman caught me looking and tilted her head. You analyze everything, don't you? I analyze patterns, I said. Humans see outcomes, not intent. That's how we survive. She laughed softly. Then you survived me eating your feed. I smirked. Barely. But apparently, efficiently. The inspector departed, devices humming, likely to file reports that would confuse half the galaxy. She glanced at me after their departure, wings flicking. Your maintenance is unsettlingly consistent. I shrugged. I prefer predictable chaos. Keeps everyone alive. She smiled, eyes warm. I accept your chaos as stability. That, I realized, was the human-alien paradox. We provide stability without knowing we do, and they accept it without knowing why. The cyber cow mooed once, perfectly polite. And the day continued, ordinary only if you ignored small dragon women, galactic law, and human care accidentally bending interstellar bureaucracy. Weeks passed, and the station settled into a rhythm that felt precariously normal. The dragon woman had claimed a spot near the feeder, not out of necessity but preference. She sampled the pellets, adjusted her own heat output, and occasionally gave me a pointed glance when I tried to micromanage anything. Humans overmanage by default. She didn't, and I found myself constantly amused. You're watching too closely, she said one morning, tail twitching. I like patterns, I replied. Humans notice them. Aliens, some of you ignore obvious trends. Her eyes flicked toward the cyber cow, chewing with methodical patience. You mean like me observing your tendencies? Exactly. She smiled, the kind of small, sly curl that hinted at knowing more than she let on. Then notice this, she said, and leaned slightly closer to the feeder, nibbling deliberately. I suppressed a grin. She was testing me. Not because she wanted control, but because she was confirming boundaries, and I was human enough to fall into every little trap. The AI chimed. Consumption within thresholds. Bonding protocol stable. Emotional alignment. Optimal. See, she said. Even the machines approve of our arrangement. I shook my head, amused. Approval from a computer doesn't make it less awkward. Her laughter was soft. Awkward? Perhaps for humans. Efficient for dragons. I leaned back. Efficient, yes. But humans measure efficiency in survival, not comfort. She tilted her head, considering. Then your species is unusually intimate by habit. Habit, I corrected. Not intention. Her wings flicked once, brushing a heat vent accidentally. And yet intention is irrelevant if outcomes satisfy. I frowned, momentarily caught. That was accurate. Humans rarely intend intimacy or emotional anchoring. We just act, and others interpret it however fit. You're realizing it now? She asked, amusement in her tone. Yes, I admitted. And it's disarming. She leaned slightly closer, just enough to let warmth brush past me. You're a predictable pattern. I can trust it. Predictable? I asked. Or stubbornly reliable? Both, she said, eyes glinting. And that's terrifying. The day continued with mechanical chores, data logging, and occasional bites from her claws as she sampled the feeder. Every movement was precise, controlled, yet somehow personal. I realized that our bond had normalized not because of law, AI, or procedure, but because she had chosen to exist within my human chaos. "You really don't need to manage me," she said suddenly. "I do it anyway," I replied. "Because humans can't help themselves." She tilted her head. "Then I'll let you. Just as long as you acknowledge it's your flaw, not mine." "I acknowledge it," I said. "And yet it becomes yours as well." She smirked, a tiny, victorious expression. "Exactly. Shared flaws are more tolerable than imposed rules." We continued like that, side by side. Cyber cow polite, AI logging, interstellar law satisfied. The station's rhythm was ordinary in function, extraordinary in effect. My care had accidentally become a foundation, her choice had anchored it, and the galaxy remained oblivious. Finally, she leaned back, wings folding comfortably. "You know," she said softly, "I might keep eating your feed. Not because I need it, but because it's home." I glanced at the feeder, then at her. "Then I'll keep it stocked." Her eyes met mine, and for the first time, the double meaning wasn't about survival, law, or bonding protocol. It was simply trust, warmth, and human flaw made safe. The cyber cow mooed once, perfectly polite, as if acknowledging the delicate balance we had created. And for the first time in weeks, the station felt quietly ours.